podcast you're about to listen to is an account of the tragedy which befell a group of horror movie fans who chose to listen to the Huge Horror Movie Podcast.
With your host, Killian Gore.
Michael row the boat ashore, hallelujah. Chills the body, but not the soul, hallelujah. Michael rowed the boat ashore, hallelujah. Michael rowed the boat ashore, hallelujah. A river is deep and a river's wide, hallelujah. Milk and honey on the other side, hallelujah. There you go. Michael round about the shore. From the beginning of Friday the 13th, Part Uno, which is the first one, obviously. Right. Welcome to the Huge Horror Movie Podcast. I'm Killian Gore, your host for the next whatever. And, of course, today's show is Friday the 13th, because this is the 13th episode of the Huge Horror Movie Podcast. 13 episodes, hey? Did you think I'd go on this long? Is he still going on this long, people are saying? Just like to say hello to my two listeners, Dan Barnes and John Judge Jeffries. Thanks for listening, guys. Does anybody else listen? I'm not so sure. Maybe Darlene Snedden. Do you listen? You said you'd put me on your car in Spotify. Were you lying, or is that true? Right. Anyway, we've got a lot to get through. I said I was scared about doing a Friday the 13th episode because it's like my favourite franchise, you know, and it's the pressure. The pressure on me. I've got to deliver, haven't I? Really got to deliver. And I'm not going to. So I'm sorry. Sorry in advance. So we will kick off. The movie in the BG today. I picked Jason Lives. Why have I picked Jason Lives? Well, obviously it's very good. It's a good Friday the 13th movie. Probably one of the best. But it was also the first one, not the best. You understand? It was the first one I ever saw. Back in... but I think it was it could have been either 1989 or 1992. Now, I know it was either one of those years, because in those 2 years, I kept a diary. I don't know why it was those 2 particular years. Maybe that was the only year somebody bought me a diary. I don't know. I can't remember. It's too long ago. So, I remember writing down in there that I'd seen it for the first time. So I would have been either whatever. I'm sure. I think it was 92. Let's say 92. It seems more plausible. I would have been 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. If it was 89, I would have been well under the limit for seeing an 18 film, wouldn't I? But it was on TV, BBC, I do believe, and I think it was one of those tapes because it was quite late at night. And I was definitely up for a paper round the next morning. I do remember that. 16-year-old paper boy, was it? Yes. I could have been 15, to be honest. Depends what time of year it was. So that's not that bad. Paper boys are 15 or 16, aren't they? Right. So, yeah, because I remember writing down a humorous, you know, I got stalked by a killer called Jason on my paper round. Writing fiction. Even back then I was writing fiction in a diary. So yeah, I just I don't know what I'm talking about now. Too hot again. Shouldn't be doing these podcasts. Right, pain. So it was part 6, and it inspired me and my cousin, because I think my cousin Richard also saw it at the same time. Who was even younger than me, That's even worse. And so we both sort of... I think we met up quite soon after and decided to rip off the film straight away with a movie called Electrified. Obviously riffing off how Jason is resurrected at the beginning of part 6, where he is electrified. We just stole it directly. But our killer was called Jack Kane. and I'm sure he was possibly a serial killer to begin with, and then he got killed by the police, and as he died, I think he just put his hand in a plug and it revived him, and he came back. He had sunglasses. His look was sunglasses, like a bobbly hat, and a scarf around his face. It was pretty unique, actually. I don't think it looked pretty awful. And then had a purple type of top. It's actually a pretty dreadful look, but you can't argue with the fact that it was unique. It was totally unique, even though the story was ripped off. Yeah, and I think we did 4 electrified movies in the end. I think we tried to do a part 5 on a couple of occasions, and it just never ended up getting finished. So, Richard, do you want to do part 5 sometime soon this year? Give me a call. We'll do part 5. Jack returns. Jack Kane, though. Sorry, did you hear that beep? It's because I'm still on QuickTime. And I tried to press new to open a new page, and it was like, no, I can't open a new page now. You're recording on QuickTime. Jack Kane. He's an actor in the Fast and the Furious movies, but I thought he was a character. I'm sure there was another character called Jack Kane. Yeah, let's put the word character next to it. This is really... Oh, he's done it again, and he's gone dead boring. No, he wasn't. So there we go. He even had a unique name, Jack Kane. Electrified. If anyone out there wants to remake the Electrified movies, you're more than welcome to give me some money for that. And Richard, of course. Right, so we're going to kick off with a little excerpt from the Horror Movie Massacre. You know, when I listen back to some of these, I make some terrible vocal mistakes. And I don't even, within the podcast, I don't correct them. I was just listening to Wrong Turn, and at one point I said blood turn. I called Wrong Turn 5 blood turn bloodlines. Silly person. Anyway, and I've also called the Horror Movie Massacre the Huge Horror Movie Massacre. And never corrected it. So apologies for those past mistakes. There'll be some fresh mistakes coming up. Oh, hang on, before I crack on with that bit of the story, I forgot to welcome, please, everybody, would you welcome our studio guest? Thank you. It is the Snake from the original Friday the 13th that Bill chopped in half. What's happened is he's been pieced back together. He didn't die. You'll be glad to know he didn't die. He's here today. He's here to say hello. Hello, Mr. Snake. Here he is, slithering across the floor. How are you? You all right after your operation? I believe you're a movie star now. You've done a few other films. And you do conventions too, don't you? He doesn't talk. I don't know why I'm talking to him. So, book nearly slipped off. Anyway, it's lovely for you to join us. Thank you very much. That was the Snake from Friday the 13th. Oh, it's lovely to see him. I can't say back on his feet, can I? That's what I don't like about snakes. Got no legs. It's just like a tube that moves. A horror tube. Anyway, that's me and my snake phobia. A lot of us have got a snake phobia. I know they said we all have. I don't think we all have. Some of you weirdos like snakes. No, there's nothing wrong with snakes apart from the spawn of Satan. Right, so the Horror Movie Massacre excerpt. Here we go. I can't describe how thrilling it was to be walking through the woods next to the original Crystal Lake. I stumbled quite a few times, not from the drink, but because my gaze was far too focused on the sight. I swear my mouth was agape the whole time, and I was probably drooling. If anyone were to see me, my cover as a lost hiker wouldn't hold any water. They'd see me for the depraved killer I was, a crazed madman foaming at the mouth, stalking through the creepy woods, ready to strike at anything that crossed his path. Further ahead I could see the cabins just off the shoreline, the very same ones from the movie. Friday the 13th hadn't been a big-budget Hollywood production. They'd simply used the cabins that were there. And there they stood to this day. I knew from my research that restorations had occurred over the years, but it was all pretty much just like the same. It was all pretty much just the same. Sorry. What I didn't see, however, were any people, and right now I craved the animate rather than the inanimate, however wonderful that inanimate was. The fanboy in me had to be toned down as I keenly surveyed the oncoming landscape for traces of human movement. Because he's looking for somebody to kill, if you've not read the story. So yeah, I'm keeping my phone on this occasion, for reasons which I won't disclose. There you go. That's added an element of mystery and surprise to this podcast that you weren't expecting. You didn't see that coming, did you? So that was the Horror Movie Mascot. Just put that over there. We're done with that. Because what we're going to kick off with now, we're just going to talk about... You can tell I'm reading off a script, can't you? I'm not reading off a script. It's just very loose notes I've got here. I'll just tick that one off. I've done that one. Oh, and that one. Right. I was going to talk about a movie that I've just seen, because that's part of the format of the show. And it was called Cold Light of Day, which Arrow Video recently brought out, which was a surprising little forgotten about movie. 1989, I do believe. Should have brought it up on the computer, shouldn't I? Silly of me. Cold Light of Day. It's about the serial killer Dennis Nilsen. And I have to talk about serial killers because it's the serial killer quota that I have to fulfill because I put it down on Podbean, as you remember. Cold Light of Day, it brings up a 2012 film with Bruce Willis and Sigourney Weaver. Where's the... Oh, I have to put the date in. Yeah, it's about Dennis Nilsen, who you might have recently seen another TV film about him, even though Cold Light of Day is not a TV film. But yeah, there was the one that's called Des, wasn't there, with Thingy, Doctor Who, David Tennant, who was very good as Nilsen. But Cold Light of Day, they didn't want to give any real names, so he's called... That's not right, is it? Oh, on Internet Movie Database, they've just called him Dennis Nilsen. I thought he was called Jason March or something like that. They've blown his cover on Internet Movie Database. Directed by Fiona Louise. Sorry, Fiona Louise. I'm sure it's a different name on the box. It's got like a Madonna name, Fiona Louise. Well, there's two, but it's hyphenated, so it's like a one first name. Yeah, but, you know, I saw her in some of the special features and all that, talking about being in the film industry, and that's all she ever did. So what happened, Fiona Louise? She just sort of did that one movie and skedaddled. She did some other films as an actress, and that was it. She remains a mysterious figure to me. If you're listening to the show, Fiona, please get in touch and tell me what you've been doing since 1989. Right. So, yeah, Cold Light of Day is interesting, really nice, not nice. Oh, I used terrible wrong words. Yeah, just a very interesting film. Very cold light of day. Very bleak. Very well put together. And I'm waffling. Yeah, it's a good shocker. Like a little Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer type of a movie. Which I'd highly recommend you check out. Yeah, it's something of a forgotten little classic of serial killer cinema. And quite interesting special features, hearing about how they made it, you know, not getting permission, you know, shooting some locations. There was a scene with a drug dealer, and the police thought it was a real drug deal going on, and shot him dead. No, it didn't happen. But yeah, it's worth it checking out. Highly recommended, and it's limited to 2,000 units. I don't work for Arrow Video. I'm not getting anything for this, but boy, I wish I did. It'd be great. That I'd love to be plugging them and, like, you know, get a freebie. Arrow, if you're listening, can I have a freebie? Terry's Chocolate Orange would do. So let's crack on with the opening 5 questions. Still not got a jingle. I'm working on it. Right. In number 1, in which year does the opening scene of the first Friday the 13th movie take place? Is it 1948, 1958, or 1968? And number 2, which actress portrayed Jason's mother, Pamela Voorhees, in the original Friday the 13th? And number 3 now, who has played the character of Jason Voorhees more times than any other performer in the Friday the 13th movies? Oh, I know that one. I know all of these. Actually, I'm not sure about the first one. I'll take a guess at the first one, because I've forgotten. Number 4. In which Friday the 13th movie did Jason first wear his iconic hockey mask? Easy. And number 5. What is the name of Jason Voorhees' father? A bit more tricky because I don't think, I could be wrong, is he even mentioned? Does he? I think he gets. I might get mentioned in part 9, Jason Goes to Hell. I can't remember off the top of my head. Talking of Jason Goes to Hell, joining me later in the studio will be Adam Marcus, the director of Jason Goes to Hell. Obviously, he won't be here himself, as you know, if you're a listener of the show, long time listener. You'll know I will be providing... Did you hear that noise then? That's my new air freshener. That I got. It's one of those that it sprays out, right? Get this. I think it's every 38 minutes, and that's the highest setting. Is that the right word? Or the lowest high? Anyway, you can't make it do 2 hours, for example, or 3 hours. You can either have it every, I think it's 9 minutes or something. This is another boring bit. Fast forward. Yeah, but the top one is 38 minutes. I mean, come on, isn't that a bit excessive? Does anybody you spray air freshener every 38 minutes in their house? No, they've done it so you waste the can of freshener thing inside it, don't they? So you have to buy another one. I see what they're doing. Yeah, so if you hear that noise again in 38 minutes, hopefully the show will be over by then. Oh God, I hope it will be. So yeah, anyway, movie in the BG we've not talked about. We can just see the guy there who's John Travolta's nephew, I do believe. Forgotten his name. Just call him John Travolta's nephew, shall we, from henceforth. And yeah, they're just at the summer camp. So yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, part 6? Because I think it's the only Friday the 13th movie, which is really quite... Actually, this is probably a question. I better not say that. We'll deal with that later. What we're going to do is we're going to go very quickly to the horror movie manual to have a few words from Friday the 13th read out to you with a humorous description. So we got Camp Crystal Lake, the name of the summer camp in the Friday the 13th film franchise. Despite being synonymous with the franchise, Camp Crystal Lake doesn't centrally feature in many of the movies as an active summer camp. In fact, it has only been the case in one of the movies. Oh no, is that trivia I was going to hold back on? Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. Although it was renamed Camp Forest Green. The rebranding was to disassociate itself from the murders that had taken place there in the past. Although maybe not opening any new summer camps in the area would have been a more sensible idea. The original Friday the 13th was filmed at a real summer camp in New Jersey called Camp Nobi Bosco. To this day, it remains an active summer camp and is proud to have had no actual murders take place there. So far. There you go. I'm afraid some of those bits of trivia might pop up in the questions later. That's just part of the deal of the show. It just happens, doesn't it? I can't help it. Right, the word Friday now. A particularly bad day to be in attendance at a summer camp, especially if it falls on the 13th of the month. Hilarious. And now we also have... What have we got here? I'll put a little bookmark here. I don't see anything. Oh, skinny dipping. Yes, because that's seen some of the Friday the 13th movies. Part 4 springs to mind. The practice of swimming without any clothes on. In horror movies, it is common to do this in bodies of water that are host to dangerous animals such as sharks or piranhas, or close by to locations where deranged killers are on the loose. And one more for you, or possibly two, the number 13 itself. A number used quite frequently in horror movies, as it is synonymous with bad luck. The numbers in Stephen King's short story and film adaptation 1408 add up to 13. Did you know that one? 4 and 8. The numbers can often be used in horror movies as the amount of victims or a span of years, or a room number or house address, or feature in some other way to add a dash of spookiness. Well, did I just put that there? Oh no, right, yeah, there's another one. Oh, there's also 3D, but you don't want to hear about that, do you? Voorhees, Jason. The name of the main villain in the Friday the 13th film franchise and one of the most famous slasher movie killers in horror movie history. Jason drowned in Crystal Lake as a little boy, or so we were led to believe. He actually survived and lived in the woods, exacting revenge on the camp counselors who chopped his mom's head off. You can understand why he's so annoyed. Jason was eventually killed by a kid who made horror movie masks just like Tom Savini's, which were made by Tom Savini, who some years later accidentally brought him back to life when he was innocently trying to desecrate his corpse. If there's actually any logic to the Friday the 13th timeline, it was thrown out of the window in later films, and Jason just seemed to keep coming back again and again, but we all love him, so he's most welcome, although he appears to have been missing from the big screen for quite some time on account of an ongoing legal battle. Oh no, look at that, over the rights, please sort it out. I put legal better instead of battle. Oh, Mr. Gore and your mistake. Every show I seem to pick up a mistake. They're riddled with mistakes, my books. Fed up with it. I'm sacking the person who edits them, which is me, so I'm sacked. Oh, that's me out at job. Right, the answers. Where did I put it? Here. The answers to the opening 5 questions are as follows. Oh, I was going to have a guess, wasn't I? And I've just clocked the answer, so that's not going to be fair. While I am actually pausing here, I lost the bookmarking in the question bit. Right, yeah. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to guess. It was 1958. You know, I might have said 1948 if I'm being totally honest. And number 2 is, of course, Betsy Palmer was Jason's mother. And number 3, Jason's been played most by Kane Hodder, who's played Jason 4 times. He wanted to play him in Freddy vs. Jason, didn't he? But they said, no, you're not. Sorry, you got somebody else lined up. And number 5, what is the name of Jason's... in number 4, the movie where he got his hockey mask, of course, part 3... And 5, Jason's father is Elias Voorhees. Elias Voorhees. You heard the click, you know what it means. I'm looking up Elias Voorhees. Hopefully to get an answer to, has he been mentioned in any of the movies? Yeah, like I said, oh, here we go. All right, so this of course reminds me, while we're on the subject of Friday the 13th today, that new Scream Factory box set, eh? How about that? Anyway, Elias, I'll come back to that in a second. Box set, just write that down there. If I scrawled it in such incoherent writing, though, I'll come back and look at it and think, what the hell does that beset? It looks like beset. What was that? Elias Voorhees was a stoic, burly, and physically intimidating man with short, scrubby hair. There were some implications that Jason's supernatural features were inherited from him. Well, I'm not reading all that, it's too much. But I do know that I think... here it is. Here we go. Yeah, he was supposed to be in part 6. Elias was intended to appear in the original ending of Jason Lives, but the film studio did not want the responsibility of having to introduce his Elias backstory in the next installment in the franchise. Additionally, the added murder of Martin made the scene an impossibility to shoot. The ending would have tied up a continuity error from A New Beginning when it is mentioned that Jason was cremated. A deleted scene from Jason Lives had Tommy asking Sheriff Garris why Jason wasn't cremated, as had been planned, at which point Garris informs him that someone paid the city to bury Jason. Director Tom McLaughlin came up with the idea for Elias to appear at Eternal Peace Cemetery staring at his son's grave. Caretaker Martin noticed him and said that he hadn't seen him since Camp Camp Crystal Lake was open. Elias stayed silent but gave Martin a $100 bill, which would have also indicated that he paid for the burials of both Pamela and Jason, so they could pay his respects. Once the caretaker left, Elias was filled with anger and clenched his fists. Elias looked towards the direction of the lake, which would be the camera. In other words, he looked into the camera, obviously knowing that his son is not in his grave. The scene ends with Jason emerging from Crystal Lake. The idea was later put in the Part 6 novelization. That's interesting. I probably got that in the Friday the 13th quiz book. Because I did also, obviously, a big standalone Friday the 13th quiz book, which you might find at that Blairstown Museum, because I think it was maybe earlier this year, possibly last year, I got in touch with them and said, do you want some Friday the 13th quiz books for your museum? Which they, of course, said, yes, we'll have those. And the understanding was that I would give them a few free ones and then they would get back to me and order some. They never did. I think it's because of what's happened this year. Possibly, they don't think it's open, is it? With all that pandemic that's going on. So I'll have to get in touch with them again and say, so do you want any more books or what? And I'm waffling, and I've lost my way. Oh no! We're gonna do some trivia now from Incredible Horror Movie Facts, and then we'll probably skip on to some more questions for yous. So this is Friday the 13th, the original film. Writer and director Sean S. Cunningham had advertised the film even before a script had been written. He was struggling to produce a hit film, and after realising the importance of movie names, he began brainstorming titles until he hit upon Friday the 13th. He loved the title so much that he took out an ad in Variety over the 4th of July weekend, containing the title in big block letters, smashing through glass with the tagline, "The most terrifying film ever made." It should have been the most terrifying film never made at that point. Proving that a mere title was enough to sell a movie, he began getting calls from from distributors from all over the world who said they'd love to see the movie. There you go, just sold on the title itself and an image. Brilliant. Right, another bit of fact. Another bit of fact? Sorry. The Camp Crystal Lake setting, synonymous with the Friday the 13th film series, has never been filmed at the same lake twice. The locations of the Erie Lake are as follows. So, in Friday the 13th Part 1, it was Sand Pond at Camp Nobi Bosco in Hardwick, New Jersey. In Part 2, it was North Spectacle Pond in Kent, Kentucky. So far we've not had an actual lake, have we? 2 ponds. Part 3 was Valozette Movie Ranch. The lake for this movie was specially created by the art department. Again, no real lake. Oh, we're coming up to a real lake now. You might want to take a seat. Friday the 13th, the final chapter, was Zacher Lake in Santa Maria, California. Zacher Lake, eh? And Friday the 13th, A New Beginning, no Jason Voorhees, no Camp Crystal Lake. The movie was shot in California. Jason Lives, Part 6, was Lake Rutledge at Camp Daniel Morgan in Hard Labor Creek State Park, Rutledge, Georgia. I just sent a book to Georgia, actually. One off the Etsy store. If you want any signed books, go to my Etsy store. Now, Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood, was Burns Lake in Baldwin Country, Alabama. And Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, was Britannia Beach, British Columbia, Canada. Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. The shots of the lake were archive footage from the Paramount Library and were actually taken from the original Friday the 13th movie. The lakeside footage was filmed in Thousand Oaks, California. So there you go. It kind of has been in there twice, the same lake, hasn't it? Pond. Jason X set mostly in space, therefore there was no lake. However, there was a sequence set within a holographic Camp Crystal Lake, but this was shot in a studio using green screen and a digitally created lake and background. Freddy vs. Jason was Bunsen Lake, Bunsen, which is Anmore, British Columbia, Canada again. And the remake or reboot 2009 was Lake Bastrop. Bastrop County, Texas, USA. But I was informed by the director, Marcus Nispel, that 3 lakes were used to make Camp Crystal Lake in the film. He said, the party house, Trent's summer cabin, was not on a lake, but the owner built a dam at a creek to create a sizable pond again, where we shot smaller setups and tied it all together with Lake Bastrop. Altogether, 3 lakes were pieced together to create Crystal Lake, so it was something of a monster, wasn't it, in the remake? A chimera. Chimera, there you go. The next 10 questions, here we go, listening? Number 6, which name has Camp Crystal Lake changed to in Jason Lives Friday the 13th Part 6? Giving that one away, but do you remember? Do you remember? Number 7, which Friday the 13th movie is the following poster tagline from? On Friday the 13th, Jason is back, but this time, someone's waiting. Number 8, how is Crazy Ralph killed in Friday the 13th Part 2? Is his throat slit? Is he stabbed in the chest? Or is he strangled with barbed wire? Number 90, which is the only Friday the 13th movie to date that fully takes place during an active kids' summer camp. Oops, told you I'd give it away one. I knew I'd have done a question on that. Bloody me. And number 10, the filmmakers of Freddy vs. Jason originally wanted Leatherface to appear at the end of the movie to slaughter both Freddy and Jason. Is this true or is it false? True or false? I don't know, you tell me. True or false? What do you think? So, there we go. That's those next questions. And I'm sure later in the show we'll have some answers to them. But it is now time... no, actually, I'm going to do something... not this. Put that back. I'm going to tell you a real story. There's some true crime here for you, and a bit of a ghost story too. This is from an undisclosed upcoming book of mine, which will be out next year. So, and here it goes. Here we go. This is the story from my own childhood camping experience on a school camping trip in 1988. And it is only through researching this book, undisclosed top secret book, that I have discovered a rather grisly addition to the tale. Well, I say tale, but I can't recall there actually being much of a story, only that a woman's body had been dumped in the lake at some point in the past, and now her ghost could be seen eerily gliding across the waters at night. My memory is hazy about when the lady in the lake story was told, or by whom, but in light of what I have just found out, perhaps that person should be brought in for questioning by the cops. You see, in 1997, the body of a lady was discovered by divers in Coniston Water, but it hadn't been recently ditched there. It turned out to be the body of Carol Ann Park, who disappeared in July 1976, spookily both the year and month in which I was born. It wasn't until 2004 that Park's husband, Gordon, was eventually found guilty of killing his wife with an ice axe and weighing her body down with rocks and lead pipes before dropping her body into the water from a boat in July 1976, when I was born. Park was sentenced to life in prison, where he would go on to hang himself in 2010. Maybe it was just coincidence that our particular school camp's urban legend turned out to have some truth to it over the passage of time. Although, now that I think about it, one of the kids' surnames was actually Park. After recounting my version of events to an old school friend of mine, Samuel Lyon, who was also present at camp, he refreshed my mind of another tale told at our camp. His story actually makes a lot more sense, as the tale is related to another tragic event on the lake, but one that happened years before we were there, not an event that was reported for years after, like my lady in the lake story. Samuel says he clearly remembers the ghost story being about a man who had died in a boating accident on Coniston Water, and now he haunted the lake searching for the teddy bear that he had lost in the accident. After looking the story up, I realised the man who the ghost story was clearly based on, was Donald I've gone to pieces. Donald Malcolm Campbell, a famous Englishman who broke many world speed records both on water and on land in the 50s and 60s. It was whilst attempting to reach 300 miles per hour or 480 kilometers an hour in his Bluebird K-7 jet hydroplane on Coniston Water that he sadly met his death when the craft lost control. It's a bad time to laugh, wasn't it? Sorry. That he sadly met his death when the craft. Apologies to Campbell's family. That he sadly met his death when the craft lost control and cartwheeled through the air. Oh, I've got the giggles now over the wrong thing. Smashing into pieces in the water. At the time, Campbell's body wasn't recovered, but floating amongst the wreckage was his lucky teddy bear mascot, Mr. Whoppet. Campbell's body would eventually be found in 2001, which means we were all swimming in a lake with 2 dead bodies in it during our stay at camp. There you go. Oh, apologies again for the laughter during that tragic story. That's just me. I'm weird. You shouldn't have to listen to me take a sip of drink, should you? But you know what? I'm not going to cut it out. That's just not what I do. Do you know? I've completely. Oh right, I know. Right, yeah, we were going to do an interview. We're going to do. I'll do the answers to those questions. To the next questions, and so we got got of course changed to Camp Forest Green in part 6. Which where are we in the movie now? We're in the woods, and it's again John Travolta's unknown named nephew. What is his bloody name? I'll find out for you. It's not important though, is it? But I'm just secretly looking for it, so it looks like I do actually know. Tom Fridley, there you go, Tom Fridley. We got there in the end. So yeah, it's Camp Forest Green, and the tagline on Friday the 13th, Jason is back, but this time somebody's waiting. It's of course the new blood. The person waiting being the Carrie rip-off character Tina, wasn't it? Tina in part 7, the new blood there. Tina! Jason's got a great look in part 7, hasn't he? The first time Kane Hodder played him. And directed by John Carl Buechler, who sadly passed away recently, didn't he? Well, I won't laugh about John Carl Buechler and tell some terrible story, because, you know, that'd be wrong, wouldn't it? It's all right about people on boats. Right, sorry, let's get away from this subject. How is Crazy Ralph killed in part 2? He's strung with barbed wire. I was watching part 8 last night. Because, we're going to talk about the new box set. Oh, there we go, Bissett, it's got written down here. The Scream Factory box set, eh? What a beauty. What a beautiful item it was. I mean, yeah, they made a couple of errors. And one of them I wasn't bothered about 2 of them. But, yeah, the Jason Goes to Hell one, it was a bit annoying. Because it's like, it's the first time that's the movie's been released on Blu-ray. And... Oh, bang the table. And, the first time, there's been an uncut Blu-ray of the movie, and then they've gone and missed off one of the bits of gore. Which probably sounds terribly trivial to some people. But, after all this time waiting for Jason Goes to Hell uncut, and then, it comes out in this very expensive and lovely box set, and it's not uncut. They're sending replacement discs, so... It's all sorted. If you've bought one and you didn't know about all of that, you just go to Scream Factory's website and they'll tell you how you can get your replacement discs. Moving on. Crazy Rough. Yeah. Oh, sorry, yeah, I was talking about part 8. The beginning of part 8. What's she called? She's bloody hilarious. The 2 on the boat that get on the house. Susie, she's Susie. Susie, who played Susie? Susie, where are you in the Oh, I'll have to go to Internet Movie Data, but I'm on Wikipedia. It's not got the full cast. But yeah, isn't she a dreadful actress? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but every time it makes me laugh. Tiffany Paulson, did you carry on in the world of acting? Oh, God, you did. I'm so sorry. No, actually, you didn't do that many movies. It's just, the acting of Susie. It's so awful. It's like, it's like she was the director's niece or something. Can me niece, but can Tiffany be in your film? I'd sponsor out of house for summer. Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, but can she act? Can she act? No, she can't. Oh no, I'm sorry. I shouldn't pick on people, but yeah, her performance is just bloody awful. When she's like hiding in the boat and the faces she's making are stupid. Right, anyway, that's my rant out of the way. I hope Tiffany's not listening. Maybe you agree, Tiffany. Maybe you agree. How could you not? The only Friday the 13th year of summer camp. Yeah, the one we got on now, and the BG there, part 6. And number 10, the filmmakers of Freddy vs. Jason wanted Leatherface at the end. True or false? Is of course... Oh, it's true. Oh, I thought that was false. I'm reading from the... How many times do I do that? I was looking at the wrong one. Yeah, false, because they actually wanted a cameo from Pinhead from Hellraiser at the end, but couldn't get the rights to the character. Right, we better scooch on. Oh no, we're well out of time. We're just going to do Adam Marcus. Adam, please, I was going to do 2 interviews from What's Your Favourite Scary Movie. We know time now for the other one. So, Adam Marcus, welcome to the Huge Horror Movie Podcast. And so can I ask, what's your favourite scary movie? The Exorcist. It's perfect. Perfectly acted, expertly directed, one of the finest scripts I ever written because it's about the characters' lives, not about the devil. Really, I find the movie to be about the breakdown of the American family. Remember how Reagan hears her recently divorced mother fighting with her father about the fact that he's not coming for her birthday? From that moment on, Reagan is not all right. That's how the devil slips in. The crack in the family structure allowed the evil to creep in. That kind of storytelling is the thing that makes me proud to be a genre filmmaker. Adam doesn't talk like that. Who is your favourite horror movie director? Tough one, but Carpenter. The sheer breadth of his work is so stunning, and that he wrote most of his films and scored most of him. Oh, I made another. It's another typo. His films. When it comes to horror, he's simply the man. By the way, Steven Spielberg is not as much a genre director, but he's my favourite director of all time. And I think Jaws is the best direction of a horror film. And yes, Jaws is a horror film. 30-foot sharks don't stalk boats, fly out of the water onto them, and eat everybody on board. Just don't happen. It's a monster movie. What's your favourite type, subgenre of horror movie? I'm trying not to do I'm trying to do a more like California accent. Is Adam from California? Am I way off on the accent here? I don't know if you listen, Adam, but I know I see you on Facebook, and we sometimes comment on each other's stuff. So maybe you do listen. I hope you don't. I really, because you probably won't like. The accents I'm trying to do. He's from Connecticut. I don't know what a Connecticut accent is. God. Anyway, your favourite type subgenre of horror movie? I'm a sucker for the new wave of French horror that's been going on for the last 10 years. Really down and dirty. I like my horror to have teeth and have a point that is outside of the scares. Something in the real world that we should really fear. Like the mall culture of Dawn of the Dead. The point that we are already zombies, feasting on consumerism, cannibalizing our own ecosystem for more stuff, and therefore dooming ourselves. Super. Thanks, Adam, for that. What's your favourite bad horror movie? No such thing as a favourite bad horror movie. If you enjoyed it for any reason, it can't be so bad. Next question. He actually put next question. That's not an ad-lib from me. What would be your favourite horror movie double feature drive-in choice? Steven Spielberg's Duel and Tarantino's Death Proof. Car horror while you're sitting in a car. Awesome. Who's your favourite horror movie killer? Love me some Jason. Well, you would, wouldn't you? Leatherface is pretty badass as well. And what is your favourite horror movie creature monster? The Thing from Carpenter's The Thing. So many monsters in one. Bang for your buck. And what's your favourite horror movie franchise? Come on now, Friday the 13th. I do have to say, though, I'm loving the Dead Snow films. Keep 'em coming. But they didn't, did they? They didn't. I think they only made 2. And I know he's got that right there, because they were very good. Part 2 was a gem. Dead, what they call it again? Bloody, Dead Snow. What am I writing? Dead Snow. Did they only do the 2 and then... Oh, they did. They stopped at 2. Let's just check on the director there, Tommy Wirkola, not Wirkelin on Dead Snow 3. Just looking if he's got a third one in the works. No. Done Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters 2 though. Anyway, what's your favourite horror movie sequel? Aliens. Alien is near perfect haunted house movie in the Stars movie, but Aliens is the best follow-up ever. Also a big shout out to Exorcist 3 Legion. Amazing film with the single best scare in film history. Only time I've seen an entire audience jump to their feet at once. And what's your favourite horror movie remake? The Ring. After that many films, mangas, and even a TV series, Gore Verbinski created one of the scariest films ever made. It's actually the best of all the Ringu films. Oh, really? I really like Ringu, the Japanese Ringu. I've not seen the remake for a long time, because I really love the Japanese Ringu. It's just brilliant. It's almost like now I just don't want to see the remake. Like I said, I've seen it many moons ago, so I don't really remember it. But then I saw Ringu quite recently, and that's it. That's the one I want to stick with. So you're terribly wrong there, Adam. Terribly wrong. No, of course, that's just his opinion. What's your favourite horror television show? There really haven't been many actual horror shows. American Horror Story Coven was badass, and I guess The Night Stalker is still pretty effective. What's your favourite zombie movie? Three-way tie between Romero's original Dawn of the Dead, Val Lewton's I Walk with a Zombie, and Wes Craven's The Serpent and Rainbow. And what has been your favourite Halloween costume? My personal favourite is the costume my 3 best friends and I wore when we were kids. We wore these costumes for years because they were badass, and our neighbours were horrified and constantly complained. We would go as Alex and his 3 droogs from A Clockwork Orange. I was always Alex, and I still have the eyeball cufflinks in my office. At 11, we really made everyone nervous. That was my first real taste of scaring people, and it was so good, I've never stopped since. Whoa, what a good interview that, wasn't it? Thank you, Adam. Now, does anyone remember where we were up to? Okay. We're going to do the last batch of questions, and then we'll end, because we're running on a bit here. Number 11. How many different actors have portrayed the character of Tommy Jarvis, turning the page, in the Friday the 13th movies? Number 12. Some folks have a strange idea of entertainment is a line of dialogue from which Friday the 13th movie? And 13 of Friday the 13th, on the 13th episode of the Horror Movie Podcast, in which actual summer camp in New Jersey was the original Friday the 13th movie. We all know that. I've already said it earlier. I won't read it. Oh, well, all right. Was it Cam No B Bosco, Cam No B Ski, or Cam Nab D B Sue? 14. What is the name of the ship taking the characters to New York City in Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan? Is it the SS Lazar, SS Lazarus, or SS Lazaro? 15. Which character vows to finally kill Jason in Jason Goes to Hell the Final Friday? 16. Which Friday the 13th movie am I describing? Écoutez. There's a graveyard, a chocolate bar, an outhouse, a barn, and the best goddamn stew in the whole wide world. Number 17. What is the name of the score composer who composed the music for the majority of the Friday the 13th movies? 18. Which American rock star performed the song He's Back, the man behind the mask for Jason Lives, Friday the 13th Part 6? 19. 19. What happens to Jason's Voorhees at the beginning of Jason X, which results in him ending up in space? Number 20. Which of the Friday the 13th movies features the following characters? Clay, Jenna, Whitney, and Trent. Got it? That's Clay, Jenna, Whitney, and Trent. One more time. Clay, Jenna, Whitney, and Trent. Clay, Jenna. Right, okay, so you've got that. Just one bit of trivia to end on. And we'll do the... I think I've covered everything. Yep, we've done that. Tick. Summer camp. Oh, no, we didn't do that. But it's boring. I won't bore you with that. Well, all right, I'll tell you. No, I won't. Right, so this is a bit of trivia from Jason Lives. After the box office success of the popular fifth sequel to Friday the 13th, producer Frank Mancuso asked director Tom McLoughlin if he'd be interested in directing the next installment in the franchise. He initially pitched McLoughlin on doing a Freddy vs. Jason movie, but at that time New Line Cinema were unwilling to allow Paramount the rights to Freddy. So McLoughlin, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but it sounds good, suggested a different kind of crossover, more in the spirit of the old Abbott and Costello Meet movies. As Cheech and Chong belonged to Paramount, he suggested they do Cheech and Chong Meet Jason. Mancuso felt that it would be far too much of a comedy movie, and he passed on the idea. So there we go. We never did get to see Cheech and Chong versus Jason, but yeah, I'd be alright, I suppose, if that had been one of them. Do you know, the thought I had last night, as I was watching part 8, and laughing at Tiffany... Oh, did you hear it? There goes the air freshener. Oh, we're supposed to be finished by now. I judge the show just on that air freshener now. When it goes squishes, I don't know the actual technical worm. Do you know what worm it is? Right, I've lost. Oh yeah, I was watching it, and I was just thinking, there's something about, like, it really started to, like, find its stride by part 8. There was, like, this big string of them, and, they was doing something different, going on a boat. That, wouldn't it have been wonderful if there'd been 10 more right up until, like, if Jason Goes to Hell had been 19, and then we'd had 10 more movies, in different... because that's what I've got to mention. Because which is something that has become the new Friday the 13th franchise, the Never Hike Alone movies. Reach over here. I've got the because I think I get most of the stuff on that he crowdfunds, and I've got here the secret directions to the Never Hike Alone location, and I'm not going to tell you. Let's just say. I'll give you one line from it, okay? I'm going to read you the very first one. I-10 east to San Bernardino. San Bernardino. So, yeah. And then take exit 80 onto University Street. Turn left onto University Street. And that's it. I'm leaving you there. There's absolutely loads more, so you never find it from that, will you? Yeah, the Womp Stomp Films, Vincent DeSanti, the future of the Friday the 13th franchise, and the wonderful Never Hike Alone, which just took fan films to a total new level. I absolutely love Never Hike Alone. And he's just, of course, released Never Hike in the Snow, which again was just pure brilliance. Onwards with the films. He's got, like, I think there's 3 more, isn't there, now? Never Hike Alone was just a small one between like what'll be Never Hike Alone 2, Never Hike Again, and then Never Hike Alone 3, Jason Takes Crystal Lake, and Never Hike Alone 4, The Final Hike. Which this is a part 5, The New Beginning, Never Hike Alone as well, because it seems the official franchise is pretty dead, isn't it? Right, so I think I've covered everything. Sorry about that bang. I was going to do possibly something from the Friday the 13th quiz book, but we're well over our running schedule here. Sorry about this. I don't know what the running schedule is. I'd ideally like, something might be like half an hour to, which has never happened, to 45 minutes. I always think 45 is maybe about right. I don't know. Some people, I just read recently, some people like really short podcasts. But then, I look at other podcasts and they're always dead long. So I think, well, what do I do then? You're saying you like short ones, I like long ones. Anyway, was I doing the final answers or the final questions? I can't remember. You help me. You talk to me. Help me. No, it was the answers, wasn't it? 11. How many people have played Tommy Jarvis? It's 3. Corey Feldman, John Shepard, and Tom Matthews. Because of course, Never Hike Alone's got Tom Matthews, isn't it? Who's back in the character. Tom Matthews. Yeah, we know it's Some folks have a strange idea of entertainment. Is of course part 6, which is the movie in the BG, which I haven't really talked about much. What's going on now? Somebody's on a phone. Sorry, that's really boring of me to talk about. We better crack on. The actual summer camp, of course, Camp Nobi Bosco, which, like you've heard, is a real summer camp that's still in use, which is a shame. I think they should turn it into like a Friday the 13th theme park or something. Not a theme park. Just like just leave it as it is, but just let horror fans have it and stay there. God, imagine that. It's just like, you could stay in a cabin in the Camp Crystal Lake. Oh, that'd be brilliant. Oh, do that, somebody. Boy Scout, you could go somewhere else. You can go anywhere. You don't care that it was Friday the 13th was filmed there. You don't care. Anyway. The ship in part 8 was the SS Lazarus. The character who's going to kill Jason in Jason Goes to Hell is Creighton Duke, played by Stephen Williams. And which Friday the 13th, there's a graveyard, a chocolate bar, an outhouse, a bar, and the best goddamn stew in the whole wide world is, of course, part 5, A New Beginning. Part 7, number 17, the score composer, of course, Harry Manfredini. I'll end on a little bit of Harry Manfredini interview, which is incredibly brief, so that's all right. What happens to... which American rock star did He's Back, the Man Behind the Mask? Of course, Alice Cooper. How does Jason end up in space? He gets cryogenically frozen. And the characters Clay, Jenna, Whitney, and Trent are, of course, from the 2009 remake of Friday the 13th. I'm not sure if I left any answers out there, but you can always buy the book, can't you? Oh, sorry. Twatted the desk again. Right, so that was the Huge Horror Movie Podcast. We're just going to very quickly end on what Harry Manfredini said was his favourite film, because he didn't want to I did ask him if he wanted to be in the What's Your Favourite Scary Movie book, and he just went, no! But he did inform me his favourite scary movies are The Exorcist and The Birds. Isn't that weird that it would be The Birds, because it has no music in it? Anyway, on that rather perplexing thought, we'll call an end to the show. Many thanks for listening. It is kiki ma ma ma, not by the way, because it's mother ma 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 ma. Yeah, even though a lot of people get it wrong, don't they? With the when it's anyway. I've bored you enough. A huge horror. Thanks for listening, and adios.